Going on? This is Mike, and I am the Sports Dope. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at that Sports Dope. And if you go to mindsofmike.com/the Sports Dope, you can find a very shitty website that I use to just get an RSS feed, so I can have an Apple podcast and just be a jerk off on YouTube on my own. Speaking of that, I need some subscribers. If you could help me out, subscribe. That'd be fucking cool as shit. I would appreciate it. Because that unlocks some shit for me, the more people that are out there. And, I'm just a silly idiot talking sports. I haven't done it in a while. I feel like I'm a little rusty right off the bat. I had some laptop issues. Then it was the holidays. I have a bunch of, kids out there in the world, and they came up for Christmas. So I spent a bunch of time with them. Last week, the laptop issued persisted, and I got it working this week. And I wish it would have been working last week because I went 3-0-1. It's fucking awesome. I loved all the road teams. And sneak peek for what I'm about to talk about, I kind of like the opposite this week. So just a brief recap last week, even though I'm not going to act like I won a shitload of games, even though I did because I didn't fucking talk about it beforehand. If you followed on Twitter or Instagram, you might have seen it, but that's it. So, but last week, if you recall, we opened up the week with Buffalo and Houston, afternoon game on Saturday, and Buffalo won the first half, Houston won the second half, and Houston won overtime. Pretty much it. It's a bullshit block in the back penalty that cost Buffalo a lot. The game pretty much because they would have been in field goal range, but whatever. It happened. Neither of those teams would have won this week, so it doesn't fucking matter. Next up, we had Mike Vrabel going into his old stomping grounds and stomping out his old coach and his old quarterback, and that's about it because everybody that he played with is gone except for those two fucking people. But he came in there. Tannehill didn't do shit. It was all track to Cito, and Derrick Henry ran wild, and I got a little nervous. So, when that game first came on, I was like, holy shit, it's foggy out. And I was like, I'm going to slam this under. So I did. Then at halftime, it was 14-13. I was like, man, 27, that's more than halfway there. I'm kind of fucked, I feel. Second half, no points. Until the last 2 seconds when, what was his name, Logan Ryan. He intercepted that ball, took it back from Tom Brady. That was a delicious way to end that. I wish it would have ended Tom Brady's career. I wish he would have retired off of that. That would be fucking dope. But he's not. He's going to come back. Actually, that's even better because we can watch him be bad together next year. It's going to be great. Yeah. And then Sunday, let's see, the first game. Oh, man, the first game. I didn't expect. I was really looking forward to betting on the Packers because for some reason it would have been I don't know, probably Saints minus something going into Green Bay for some reason, just because that's the way that shit is. But I was really looking forward to betting the Packers against the Saints. But instead, the Vikings came in there and stomped the shit out of them. And it's weird that they stomped them and the Saints didn't look good. But oddly enough, the game went to overtime. I don't get it. I know that, Vikings obviously just dominated overtime because they didn't let the Saints get the ball. But it struck me as quite odd that that happened. I still don't get it. The Saints didn't look good. And yeah, but that's it. Whatever. And after that, the most boring game of the weekend, Seattle looked terrible while beating up, Josh McCown's Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, Carson Wentz lasted 9 plays, I think it was, in the playoffs. So pretty gross. Jadeveon Clowney, I don't think it was a cheap hit. I don't think it was a bad hit. I don't think it was a dirty hit. I don't think anything just really happened to the guy. And I don't think anything did. So it's fine. Good. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Fucking Carson Wentz was standing up a split second before, and then he starts sliding, and Jadeveon Clowney's diving at him. Looking at stuff in slow motion doesn't tell the whole story. It's so fucking stupid. But anyway, that's it. So all of the road teams move on except for the Texans. And I pretty much feel that most of these teams that are moving on are about to lose. Excuse me. So without further ado, let's just dive into this week's games and what we're going to roll with. And Then I'm going to run through a daily fantasy lineup that I'm doing, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So first game this weekend, 4:30 Saturday, Minnesota goes to San Francisco. Look, here's the problem. Here's the way I see this game, right? Minnesota's got a lot of juice because they just beat up on the Saints. I don't think the Saints are that good, so I think that juice is unwarranted. Now, you get this team that is only on 6 days rest, flying back to their home in the fucking Great White North, then flying out to the entire West Coast, as west can be, unless you're going to fucking Hawaii, but you're not. And short rest because they played Sunday. Now they play Saturday. First fucking game of the week. And not to mention, their quarterback is a superstitious fucking jerk off. He's a jerk off's pretty strong. I got no ill will towards Kirk Cousins, but he's a superstitious dude. Like, I think you've probably heard this before. If you're degenerate and you're listening to this podcast, if you stumbled across it, it's because you've listened to other gambling podcasts, and everybody has talked about this for the entire year. If Kirk Cousins plays at 1:00 on Sunday, he's a creature of habit. He fucking does well. If he plays anywhere outside that window, unless it's Dallas, I guess, anywhere outside that window, he's terrible. It's the day before. It's like 4:35. He's in a weird mountain time range, so it's kind of off for him. And anyway, the 4:35 game, and it's on the West Coast. I don't like it. They're a little banged up. Thielen got hurt again. Diggs, I don't know, has the fucking flu. Dalvin Cook was banged up going into this, and I think San Francisco's offense is going to be able to put up points, and I don't think that they're going to be able to score points on the offensive side. I think it's going to be tough. I like San Francisco. I got it at 6.5 when it opened up out there. Right now, it's at 7. I still like it at 7. I think San Fran wins like pretty handily. And yeah, what's the total in this one? I don't even remember. The total in this one is, pardon me, 44.5. I don't know. I worry about the Vikings to fall flat. I worry about them. It's a big win, a lot of travel involved, short rest. I just don't like the situation for them. It opened at 46, went down to 44.5. I think that's what people are thinking too. There's a lot more money on the under. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a 27-10 game, something along those lines. But, if that 27-10 turns into 27-17, then you're walking a little too close to that 44.5. I still might do a little bit of the under. I'll think about it as the week goes on. Let's see. So, next up, we've got, fuck is this? We got the Titans at the Ravens. I think this is almost the same exact situation. It opened at 10, went to 9.5 for a little bit. I think people were really stoked on the Titans after that game. So it went up to 10 and kind of hung out there. I got it at 9.5. I love the Ravens here. Look, I get it. Mark Ingram's a little banged up. But look what they did that last week. Pittsburgh needed to win that game, and they played all their backups. And the backups beat the shit out of Pittsburgh to knock them out of the playoffs, to totally get rid of them. Fuck you, Steelers. See you later. You did good with what you had this season, but, Juju barely played, and Roethlisberger was out since like the first fucking game. So good for you. But they lost to the Ravens backups, all because the scheme is good and they have starters and backups that fit that scheme. They built that scheme around those people. Mark Ingram doesn't play. Gus Edwards steps right in. Justice Hill is his backup, and you don't fucking lose anything. You barely lose a step. So I like the Ravens a lot. I think the Titans are frauds. Like, look, Tractor Cito, Derrick Henry ran for like 180 yards. Tannehill threw for like 70. I forget what the exact number is, but it was like 75 yards. Terrible, bad. You're not going to be able to win this game with Derrick Henry. They're going to score. They're going to average probably 5 points a possession. And they're going to get 7 possessions. It's going to be like 35 points. Maybe 4. Yeah. Anyway, they're going to be up there. And there's no way that Tennessee is going to be able to keep up with them. They got good cornerbacks. They got a decent front. And it's just not happening. So give me the Ravens minus 9.5. Let's look at the total on this guy also. It's another pretty decent. It's 47. I don't like it. I worry that the Titans won't be able to score anything, because if they start throwing the ball, they might be throwing it poorly. And That's a very likely thing. So staying away from this one in the over/under category. But I like the Ravens and the points. I don't care. 9.5. I think they're gonna win like 30-12. That's not a real football score. What do I talk about? Like say 31-13. Puts it right at 44. One more Titans touchdown and that puts it over. But I think that 9.5 is better than the over/under. Next up, we've got the Texans going to the Chiefs on Sunday at 3:00. Weird fucking time. This one opened at 8, went all the way up to 9.5, hanging out there. Look, I got a future. I got two futures, right? Two things that I liked a lot. I went with the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and I also went with a Chiefs-Packers Super Bowl. Okay, so just know that going in may lean a little bias on some of my picks, but I still like the Chiefs in this game. I'm not going to try and hedge out of this one. 9.5. I think this is a whole. There's a trend also amongst degenerates. It's called Andy Reid off a bye. He had a week to prepare. The offense is going to be mint. The Texans aren't going to be used to that weather. It's going to be ridiculous. They also just played their hearts out in order to get back into and then win that game. I think the Chiefs defense is better than people think it is. And I think they roll here too. I think there's going to be a lot of blowouts this weekend. I just feel like it. And I think this total is somewhere in the 50s. Let me take a look at that again. Wrong fucking thing. But total is 51. Started 49. I worry about the Texans' ability to score points. That's all. I don't. 51's a big number, but if the Texans get to 17 or 20, the Chiefs will definitely do the rest. So I'm staying away from that also. Next one, Seahawks go to the Packers. Like I said, I have a future about the Packers there. I think the Packers are going to win this one, but it jumped up to 4.5, and I'm taking Seahawks. I'm taking those points. I like it a lot because the Packers are going to play well to start the game, and that's what they always do. They're going to score like 3 touchdowns in a row. Then they're not going to do shit. So the Seahawks are going to be able to fight back in this one. I think it's going to be a field goal game, but I hope the Packers come out on top. But I'm taking Seahawks and the points in this one just because I think this one's going to be pretty high scoring too, like sneakily high scoring. And it's sitting at 47. I might grab that before it jumps to 47.5. So that's the one total I like. So just to recap, last week I liked all the road teams. This week I like all the home teams. I just think the road teams are vastly outmatched. I think that extra rest helped all the home teams, and I expect to see, 1-2, 1-2 in the next round. So that's all I got for this one. Let's move on real quick. We're gonna run through a DraftKings lineup. I'm not doing the Millionaire Maker because I don't want some broad from The Bachelor to, team up with the person she won with and, scam me out of some money on all my entry fees. So I found a single entry guaranteed prize pool GPP thing for $200K, $12. I jumped in that one. And I'm probably going to do a lineup with my friends also. So the first lineup, I got it, but I'm only going to talk about one right now. So first lineup I got, look, here's the deal. This guy is on a team that doesn't have running backs. That's really all it is. Look, I get it. There's this guy Homer out there. He's not that good. You know who else isn't good? Fat Marshawn Lynch. So he might get you a goal line carry, but he's not going to get you from your own 25 to the other side of the fucking field anymore. That's not going to happen. The only beast mode that he's part of is fucking taking down Skittles, and that means they're going to throw the fucking ball a lot. So I'm going to go with Russell Wilson, $6,600. I think he's just going to be chucking all day long, chucking or running, one or the other. And I think he puts in 3 touchdowns probably. If not more. I think this game's going over. I'm taking that 47. I keep thinking about it now. So anyway, Russell Wilson, and like we always do, we're going to stack him. And I don't like going back to the well against the guy who just had a fucking career game last week. But I'm going back to DK Metcalf. And that's because on the other side of the ball, Green Bay has Jair Alexander. But he's more of a shorter, cover the fast guy thing. So I think he's going to be on Lockett. And that's going to leave King on Metcalf. And I think Metcalf's going to dominate him. I just think that's the case. So give me my stack's going to be Wilson and Metcalf. I got 66 and $6,800 respectively. Like I said, I like the Packers too to put up points in this one because the Seahawks defense, if they're not knocking the quarterback out, they're not great. I don't think. So I like Aaron Jones. I think he's going to be all-purpose usage this time. I think he's going to be catching passes, running the ball. I love him this week. And give me Gus Edwards down in Baltimore. Talked about how Mark Ingram's a little bit banged up. Even if he does suit up, he's probably going to play less. So who's going to play more? Gus Edwards. And guess what? Everybody fucking eats in that offense if you're running it, or a tight end. Next up, we're going with another receiver here. We're going with Stephon Diggs out in San Fran. I'm mainly taking him because I think San Fran's going to be down, so they're going to have to chuck it at times. And Thielen's a little banged up. Diggs is back from his illness. So I like Diggs, $5,600. And staying in that game with another wide receiver, it's my man. I like him a lot. Deebo Samuel. Had some killer games towards the end of the season. Jimmy G looked his way a lot. They were even running him in like jet sweeps and shit. So I'd see him getting a lot of touches. Minnesota's sneaky good against the tight end, with Harrison Smith back there. And so that might be a little tough to get the ball to Kittle. And so I'm going with Deebo Samuel. And not staying in because we're leaving it. What the fuck was that, Mike? Or dope, whatever you want to call myself. So next up, we got Jimmy Graham playing for the Green Bay Packers. They got Seattle coming to town. Like I said, not a great defense. They're like 30th against the tight end. So I like Jimmy Graham to get a sneaky touchdown. Think about it. Devontae Adams and then like a couple of just makeshift guys, like, just tall, skinny guys who run fast and go down the field. Lazard, Allison, Valdez-Scantling, they're all fucking blend in. You got Devontae Adams, and Jimmy Graham's the only other fucking professional receiver on that team, and I like him to at least put it in the end zone. $3,300. I dig it. And like I said, George Kittle, he's going against a tough defense. And Kelsey, I'm like, a little banged up. Give me Jimmy Graham. If he gets a touchdown, and that allows me, if he gets a touchdown, that pays off dividends. And that also allows me to put Tyreek Hill, not banged up, in my flex spot for $7,600. KC, they're going to dominate this game. They're going to run all over these guys. Houston's going to be like, just happy to be here at this point. Usually we lose at home like a bunch of fucking jerk-offs in the playoffs. So give me Tyreek Hill, put up big numbers, 2 touchdowns and like 150 yards. It's going to be fucking fantastic watching this guy run all over the place. And last up, I know I just talked shit about him actually, but I'm going with the Seahawks defense because, like I talked about 5 fucking minutes ago, I think the Packers are going to put up points early, but then they're just not. They're not going to. They have a great script for the first couple of drives and usually score touchdowns, definitely put up points. But after that, they really fucking taper off. And I think the Seahawks get a couple sacks. Hey, maybe they knock out Aaron Rodgers again. Maybe somebody else gets knocked out. Who knows? But not super impressed with the rest of the Packers receivers. That's why I went with Jimmy Graham. So, yeah, give me Seahawks. They'll get a bunch of sacks. A couple of sacks anyway. And, that's it. Yeah, I spent a lot of money. So that was why I had to, change that out. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got. That was the daily fantasy lineup. Let's run through it one more time. Russell Wilson, Aaron Jones, Gus Edwards, DK Metcalf, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, and Jimmy Graham, Tyreek Hill, and the Seahawks. It's my birthday weekend. I'm going to be getting fucked up, and I'm going to be tweeting and shit about these games while they're going on Saturday. So follow me on Twitter at @thatsportsdope, and same thing on Instagram. And if you were interested, mindsofmike.com/thesportsdope. That's where there's a bunch of other social media bullshit. And that's it. That's all I got. Talk to you later. Next week we'll do we'll do the championship games, and maybe we'll dive into what the whole record was for the entire year. Something along those lines. If I can, put that shit together. But if not, we'll just talk about the games for a little bit. All right. Peace out. Thanks for checking it out.